Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bits and Bolts, the correct date and time, and your bi-weekly coffee, tea, beverage break, where we'll talk about some new stuff with SureMDM and 42 Gears, some products that maybe or features which might be new or new to you. And as always, you have Stuart Clark, which is the Africa's Territory Manager, and myself, Armaan Sami, who looks over DACH and the Netherlands territories for 42 Gears. Our contact information is down here at the bottom to our emails. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime you have questions, comments, concerns, or just anything that you want to see or learn more about. And in fact, I have a topic here because before I jump into the next, let's say the scheduled things, you might have received quite a bit of, well, let's say this, at 42 Gears, we've talked a lot about SureIdP and shared users or multi-user modes on MDM. And there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize these different tools and functions. And since we've done these posts, since we had, I think yesterday or the day before, maybe Monday, that little training team hosted by the India team at 42 Gears, and since Prakash Gupta, our CTO, had done his presentation on SureIdP, if there are any interested people in this meeting today that would like to see more about that in the next meeting, please let us know. We can prepare, or next Bits and Bolts, we can prepare something and show you a more lifelike example connected with a Active Directory of some kind and actually being used as a live example. So please let us know in the chat and comment question section of this meeting. Of course, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, drop them in there as well. And either during the meeting or during the session or at the end, we'll be sure to answer what we can and get back to you afterwards on those as well. But with that, let's get to the scheduled content. Today, I will talk about device enrollment and device assignment rules. And Stuart will talk about system apps visible through both profiles and scripts. Visible or not visible, I think is the question for Stuart, but he'll answer that in a little bit.
For sure.
And with that, I'm going to jump into my SureMDM console. So again, this kind of follows a similar, let's say, mechanism or similar theme. There are multiple ways to do different things within SureMDM. One example is, how do I move one device from one group or one folder, one way of organization to another? And the reason we have so many different mechanisms or ways to do this is more about kind of being flexible and trying to meet every different situational need versus having one way that everyone needs to conform to, even if it's a little bit more painful or not optimized. What I'm going to try to show you today is I have with me here a Denso device. It's a MC-50 scanner. And I'm just going to show you the screen here because I'm actually going to deregister it through SureMDM, the application. I will scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there is second from the bottom down here, deregister from SureMDM. I will deregister it. Are you sure? Yes, it is deactivating. And now device deleted by user. That's the message I get up here. And I'm just going to come here and I'm also going to delete it from the console. Now, what you might have noticed is up here, by the way, it says device moved to recycle bin successfully. As I've already deregistered it from the device, it actually skips that and doesn't even come to the recycle bin. So just a little tidbit. But what I'm going to do is I still have the device in my hand. I'm not going to factory reset it, but you see here that it is stopped. It is no longer enrolled. And what I'm going to do, and by the way, you'll notice here that the group path and name, I hope you all can see that, is none. Now, I'm actually going to, and I'll do this a little bit out of order because it does take a little bit of time. I'll explain it. I'm going to come back to settings. And I'm going to enable SureMDM agent services. Again, that's that first checkbox, press done, and I'm prompted with this. Please provide the username of this device. Now, this is kind of similar, but we'll talk about it later as to, let's say, when you're enrolling a device into SureMDM with a QR code and you're asked to manually type in a device name, but I'm going to call it bits and bolts test, hit continue, and what you will see is it's then going to go through the regular setup. Actually, sorry, this one still says it's being deregistered, but I will just do it one more time. In fact, I shouldn't have even listened. It's here in the unapproved list. Bits and bolts enrollment test is the device name, and MC-50, I will here come and press approve. Now, what you will see, and I'm going to expand this section down here, I'm going to hide all the subgroups so we just see this device, is a few things happening to this device automatically. And of course, it's been approved. We have, maybe need to refresh it. You'll start to have some activities and jobs applied to it, and we'll see some things going on down here. What I have configured and what I've done is I've actually mapped this device, not this device, actually any device which enrolls into this MDM console with a specific local IP address to go to a specific folder. Now, there are many reasons why we might want to do this. And one of them is the fact that part of, let's say this, we have a large warehouse or it's different warehouses, different locations, and each one has a different IP address. And as a device comes into the MDM console, we just want to be sure to put it into the right folder section or organize it in a specific way. We know that with tags, we can do things like specifically tag the device, the model number, operating system version, stuff like that, but maybe we also want to put it into a specific group or folder. And one of the best ways we can do that is actually by coming over to account settings. By the way, you see here some of these groups and tags already being generated and created. But if I come to settings, account settings, I then here see group assignment rules and device enrollment settings. I'm actually going to start with enrollment settings, device enrollment rules. And here we can see that, of course, you can change very basically how a device is named as it comes into the console. If you have not like specified in a QR code or another way to be named versus serial number, if you're just taking the system generated name, you can configure that here. And you can also set up enrollment authentication. Now, there's different things you can do here. So for instance, no authentication, require password, OAuth, SAML, Active Directory, and SureIdP, as some examples. I have it set to no authentication, and you might notice down here, I have prompt for user details on device. Now, this is actually different than let's say this, the typical, what is a device name upon enrollment? Prompt for user details actually means, and sadly in this demo, in this account, I don't have it set up, you can actually have an Active Directory synced to your SureMDM console and not make it mandatory to use the Active Directory. So as you see on this device here, I just typed in a generic name on the device. But if you have a somewhat fixed device or a non-shared device, you can actually use this mechanism to say either give your Active Directory synced email ID, email address, or the username, which is the SAM account name. And then what will happen is that device will automatically be put into the right folder, have the right security groups applied to it, everything as if it was enrolled via a specific Active Directory, but not taking or using any of the protocols used. So it will simply just, SureMDM will fetch and map it for you in the background. If you want to see more on this, please drop a question or a comment. We can set up a live demo and show you this later. But what I actually wanted to show you is these group assignment rules. And I have two here. One is bright green and bright red, simply enabled and disabled. Now, what you can do here, once this section is checked, you can come here and add, or I'm just going to take this one here, this IP address, and modify it or edit. You can see that the rule is simply called IP address. The source group is home, meaning that as a device is taken or enrolled and comes into the home folder, I can also include all subgroups if I want. If you wanted to, you could come here and pick and choose whatever subgroup you'd like. And if the local IP address is equal to, Now, of course, you can use multiple different variables here. You don't need to use local IP. You could use global, device model, SSID, build, device host name, custom columns, or even custom properties to do this. These two, especially at the bottom, become very flexible and very cool. But without spending too much time on it, local IP address is equal to, you could also change it to multiple values. So is value 1 or and value 2, you can put a range, contains, does not contain, or match regex. And you can type in here or put in, copy paste your IP address. You can also add multiple values. So and or can also be set up in this way. All I'm trying to say is that you can very much specifically customize and be very specific to the rules that you put in place as a device is enrolled into the MDM console. Just going to delete this quickly. And finally, you can say, where is this destination? So you might have seen before, I actually have 2 office locations. If you're familiar with Switzerland, there's Hettlingen, a small village, and Zorzach, another small village, but where I have 2 little offices. And depending on the IP address, it'll either fall into the Zorzach office or the Hettlingen office. And that's what we've kind of done here. If it's this IP address, which is actually the IP address of this location, that device will automatically come into this folder. Now, another one which I've disabled is a much easier one, but just to quickly show you, device model number equals MC-50, put it into this Denso folder. I could have also made subfolders and said put it in this Denso subfolder MC-50 folder. It's completely customizable, very flexible, and works on its own. So you do not need to go in and do things like push or let's say create a job or right click and move a device to a particular folder. You can automate this process here in group assignment rules. Or if you're linking to an Active Directory through device enrollment rules and linking and configuring your Active Directory in enterprise integrations, do this automatically. Device comes into the system, it's automatically put and organized where it should be. Now, this is for devices which are being enrolled. An alternative way to do this is if I come up here to these 3 dots, I have the enterprise version of SureMDM, app plugins. There is also a group creator and, oh, sorry, I don't have it added here yet, but you also have the ability to move devices. So if I just quickly come back to accounts or settings, account settings, and I scroll down to plugins, manage plugins, you'll see these are the ones I have added. But I'll click over here to plugin store, and I will also have a plugin to move devices to a particular option. Actually, sorry, it's not here, but there is a plugin to move a device or all devices similar to fixed name from one section, from one group to another. I think it's group assignment wizard, actually. Sorry. Great. So just actually this one here, this one looks like it's for properties specific, and this one is not. Just basically how this works is you give a CSV and say these devices should be moved to these folders. But this is more important or more useful after a device is already in the system. What I showed you is beforehand. Now, if I come back to this MDM console, what you will actually see here is took about 4 minutes in this case, but it varies. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes less time, but just keep an eye on it. I haven't quite been able to figure out the mechanism, but what I've noticed is in under 10 minutes, your device will be moved into the right group and folder. We're still here seeing it here in home, but if I refresh, it should be moved. You'll get, of course, the notices here. So group assignment rule was modified by me. And then this device named Bits and Bolts Enrollment Test was moved from the home folder to the office Zorzach based on the group assignment rules IP address. If I come here, come to Zorzach, we will now see that my MC-50 is sitting here with these other devices, all within the same local IP address. Just a quick example, again, if I wanted to move it somewhere else, I could right click, move to group, and I could finally come here and just say I want it in my Denso folder, but this is very manual. You probably don't want to do this for every device as they come into the system. So you can automate it based on device enrollment or other types of account settings, configurations, or after the fact with the right click and move that we just saw or the plugin. All right, that was plus minus the what I wanted to show you all today. I'm just going to check. I don't see any questions, but if any questions do come in on this topic, please let me know. Be happy to answer them. Oh, and as if I had known, thank you for the question. Under registration using Active Directory, I saw that it was mentioned only admin accounts. If I remember correctly, are there plans to expand this to regular AD users? Okay, great question. It could be that it's mentioned there only admin accounts, but this entire thing is expanded to regular users. So it does not need to be a specific admin. So just to check this really quick, I'm going to go back to device settings, device enrollment rules. Again, here, if I use no authentication and username, or I can use email or both, it will still sync to the Active Directory and then just put it in the right group or folder anyway. But there is no further authentication. Any device can come into the MDM console and will just authenticate afterwards. If you come here and you say enrollment authentication type, and let's say you use a SAML just as an example here, and you fill up, of course, this information, you go back and forth with the certificates. With this configuration, a user's device will not be allowed to even enter the MDM console unless we have correctly authenticated ourselves with a generic Active Directory user. Now, two things here, just to be very clear, there are two different places that you can connect in Active Directory. So if I come over here to Enterprise Integrations and I have AD integration, I have something quickly configured here, but it's not finalized, unfortunately. Here, this is doing a general mapping. So the Active Directory that you configured here will be where you're taking users, let's say from any type of user, and they're cross-referencing that with a device. If you use SAML single sign-on, here we are doing single sign-on to the SureMDM console. So just to be very specific here, and again, I know there's now multiple places for integrations. SAML single sign-on is SureMDM admins logging into the console. Active Directory integrations are general users which are going to be linked or synced to a device upon enrollment. And yeah, once you've done the AD integration here, you can then configure this however you want in device enrollment rules. No authentication means even if there's user is not in the system or not named or there's a mistake, the device will still be enrolled. And if you use if you change no authentication to require a particular type, then the user information will be used. But to quickly answer the question, it can be a regular AD user. It does not need to be an AD admin. Thank you for the question. I'm sorry for the long-winded answer.
It made it clear. It's good.
I hope so. I hope so. Good, Stuart. Then if more questions come, we'll answer them. Or if there's a follow-up question to this, please drop it in the chat. But I will hand over to you.
Perfect. Let me quickly share. Good. Have you got it coming up?
I see it. Yes.
Super. All right. Good. Thank you. It was really good. I guess I've got perhaps something a little bit shorter, but most definitely one of the more frustrating I guess questions that many of us would have from customers is around potentially the environment that we handle in an enrollment of a device where suddenly there are certain system applications that are not visible or not enabled, and most often in my experience this would be where somebody is wanting to enable a particular application within the SureLock environment, as an example. So I wanted to just run through, and you will see, as normal, there is a knowledge base article on this, and you will see that we cover it in detail, both two components that I'm going to show, the profile adjustment and the script function to be able to enable all of these system applications. And I'll take you through those quickly as we go, just to make it a little more clear and show you an example on a device that I have enrolled. So again, as I mentioned, generally my experience, and I'm sure it would be similar for the rest of you, is that the most common application or the most common frustration with this is that when I am particularly trying to add a newly enrolled device or enable certain applications on a newly enrolled device within SureLock, I'm unable to find perhaps the camera, the gallery, the file explorer, and some of those types of system applications that are available on devices. And it's I don't know if the experience is the same for you, Armaan, but I'm noticing that this is happening more regularly on the newer devices. Is that those system applications are not generally enabled by default. There are two ways. So, you want to add anything?
No, I was just going to agree to your point.
Okay. Perfect. No worries. So I have a device, as I said, enabled at the moment, and one of the things that I wanted to show you perhaps before I begin, if I were to look at specifically the system applications, and I'm not going to go through the details, but we can see that we've got 41 of those available to the SureMDM environment, and as I said, by extension available within the SureLock space for allowed applications. As I said, two ways of going about doing this. The first is through the profile. And this is the important part if you're going to be doing the original onboarding and you intend to share those system applications, because generally my experience is that if you haven't done this on the first profile deployment, you will have to go to the script in order to enable it at a later point. So let's cover quickly the profile component. It's under our profiles and the system settings, and then within the applications subfolder, you will see towards the bottom an enable all system applications checkbox. This, again, generally in my experience, I would enable by default unless there was a specific reason why that particular customer did not want those applications enabled. It definitely makes it safer further down the line, but as I said, generally I would go and make sure that this enable all system applications has been selected. We've saved the profile and the profile has been deployed to the device. As I said, if you've originally deployed a profile onto a device that didn't have all system applications enabled, and you come and make the change that I've just done, reapplied on the device, in general, my experience is that you will still need to go and run the script. And the script obviously is the second way that we can go about it. And I want to show you a quick and easy way to find it. Those of you that are familiar with our jobs and specifically the run scripts would know, obviously new job, in this case, it's an Android device. I'm going to go to run scripts. And as a quick search, I would search the point system or the keyword system. It comes up as the third on this list, and the function is specifically referring to retrieving all system applications in the apps section of SureMDM. So you will see I have a base script enabled and a variable being either true or false. True indicating that we want to enable or display all of those, and false, obviously, that we're going to hide them. And so in this case, I'm going to add the word true. I'm going to validate and add the script, and then just quickly give it a name. Let me add that. Those of you who are paying attention would have remembered 41 system apps on my device. So what I'm going to do is quickly apply this job onto this device that I have available. And you will notice that very soon after having that job applied, I'll be able to go and refresh my apps list. Remember, the apps list update happens on a synchronization, so it's not going to be within a matter of seconds of my script having been deployed on this device. But now that it has been enabled, I'm going to go to apps, and I'm going to have a quick look at system apps and refresh those at the same time. And hopefully, within a couple of seconds, if this refresh happens quite quickly in the polling of that total list of system applications, you will notice that my original number of 41 has significantly increased. Some examples, as I mentioned in the beginning, camera and gallery, file explorer, if those are part of what you're wanting to make available to the users on the device. As well as more recently, I had a customer who was wanting to be able to enable a biometric specific service on the device. And and that service was obviously hidden to SureMDM and was not able to be enabled as part of the SureMDM allowed applications. And so in that case, this was obviously a significant milestone in order to be able to get access to that. So here we go. Just for example, 41 has increased to 270 on this particular device. And again, probably a number of services that may no longer or may not be necessary for the large majority of applications. But when you're unable to find that one particular service that is blocking a function in perhaps a SureLock environment that you've created, this is a very, very handy step to take as part of your initial deployment. In fact, as I said earlier, I would say generally on most applications and most of the partners that I work with in general, other than if there's a specific concern from a customer, will enable the all system apps within the profile by default, and quite often will include the script within perhaps a composite job being deployed onto a particular folder. So again, quick recap. Profiles, obviously, in order to be able to enable the all system apps. So profiles, system settings, application subgroup, and towards the bottom, enable all system apps. Recommended, obviously, for that to be on all the time. And then under our jobs, our run script, and a quick search in the original section, the left-hand generic script section. If you use the word system, you will find the center of the three that pop up give us that script that retrieves all of those system applications. So I hope that saves some of you some headaches, and perhaps a quick recap for those of you who have experienced it and have already learned the lesson of being able to go and enable those applications on deployments.
It was funny, Stuart, because I just, while you're doing that, I just remembered that just on June 12th, so about less than a month ago by one day, I had a very similar request come in for a specific Action AR function on a device, a Google service that was not showing. Yeah,
absolutely. I think those of us and those of you who joined the call who've experienced this would never forget it again. But it's obviously a good reminder for those of you who haven't yet to make a note of it. It's going to come up. We can almost guarantee. Perfect. And then, let me hop onto the last couple of slides. Obviously, just some reminders again for those of you who have not signed up for our community. Please to do so. It's a really, really good place to be involved. We mentioned it before, but things like release notes for updates around all of our applications are listed in this community page, and it's good to be involved. Our knowledge base, I obviously referenced a little bit earlier what I was showing, and it's there and available to you to be able to search under various keywords and hopefully find some very simple and step-by-step articles or documents that take you through specific functions that are available. And Academy, we've obviously encouraged as many of you to take those as you can. We have right up to our technical experts course available within the 42 Years Academy at this point in time. Cosmos Portal, I know Gabby obviously touched on it last week, and we have over sort of random bits and bolts sessions before this, but it's really, really helpful for those of you who are looking for partner-specific information. Lots of marketing campaigns in a box, and the rest are available to you. If you haven't already got access, please speak to your account manager. We can very quickly enable that for you within our Cosmos Portal. And then a quick reminder, we covered this in the beginning, and we're obviously still trying to twist Gabby's arm to find other ways of adding extra entries into the lucky draw. But for those of you who are regularly joining, Gabby's keeping a track of those, and towards the end of the year, we'd really like to be able to give some special rewards to those of you who've been our regular attendees to the bits and bolts session. Lastly, partner marketing email address is available and can get you directly to Gabby and Chris and the rest of the marketing team. Tech support, as we've said before, available by email, web ticket, chat, and telephone if need be. Tech support at 42years.com, and they're available 24/7. And lastly, as a quick wrap up, no other questions. Armaan, did you see anything coming through?
There is one.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes. Okay, I see that. SureFox,
So
mention of SureFox as part of licensing. So if I understood correctly, the question was, is SureFox available as part of our enterprise tier? It's available on all tiers. So the three, I guess we could call companion solutions, being SureLock, SureFox, and SureVideo, are available on any of our license tiers of SureMDM. So there's no extra charge for those. They obviously are available as standalone applications if you had a particular request from a customer just for that particular service.
yeah, let
I don't see
me.
any others.
So no, there isn't, but you know who you are with that question. Reach out to me if you've got questions about it. Stuart, if you could show your console and show the subscription plan detail where you can see the SureMDM license details.
Okay, yes, perfect.
Just so for people which are on the call, I do get this request often as well. Often enough, I remember it. But yes, Stuart, please.
Mine is on Hub, so I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Then let me. No, you won't. Let me share my screen. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, sorry, I just realized now. Let me hop back to yours.
Exactly. One moment. Let me share the screen again. It should hopefully
perhaps while you're doing that, just for me to mention, for those of you who already have customers' environments that are within your Hub console, just a reminder that what Armaan's going to show you is obviously not available for the customers to be able to see, and there's obviously a reason behind that.
Yes, exactly. So if I come over here, this is the SureMDM again, settings. I then have by subscription. And I believe this entire by subscription option is not available if you're in the Hub for, I think, quite clear reasons. But I'll check to see if we can get this information at least added at the very minimum. When you make this request or fill it out, don't worry. For starters, you don't, or as a partner through the channel, this only makes a request that we can then feed through the channel. This is not actually going to fully allow you to buy the licenses in our territory on your own anyway. But if I come to SureMDM licenses, here you can see the general MDM licenses. But if you come here to other product subscriptions, you can here see the other products which Stuart mentioned earlier, which are included in all. Now, of course, if it's a Hub and you don't have access to this, you should have received this information on the after the confirmation email. So when you make a new Hub account, you'll get an email that says, please confirm. And then after that, when the account is actually set up, you'll get another email that puts these three SKUs, these product SKUs, in the email as well. Now, two things to keep in mind here. What is auto-generated is only for Android. So if you're looking to do this with Windows, you have to contact us anyway, and we'll share you the SKU. That's also included. But if you do not get it, or a partner, let's say, sorry, an end customer, you signed up for them, they got the email, they've lost it, cannot find it, spammed, junked, deleted it, who knows, just reach out to us and we'll send you all the queues, all the different SKUs as well. But I think it's a good point, because I'll make the request to see if we can get this information added in SureMDM Hub for partners who created the account anyway, so you can see it.
Absolutely. Maybe also just to mention very briefly, a reminder that SureLock is and SureLock within the SureLock environment, sorry, SureFox within the SureLock environment is does not need you to add the activation code within the SureMDM console. So only if you're going to be using these as standalone applications would you need to do that.
Exactly.
Good. All right. Well, super. Thank you very much, everybody. And the 25th is going to be the next date. So we look forward to seeing you and obviously being able to share a little more on that.
Perfect. Oh, sorry. Here we are. Took me a minute, but yes.
No,
great.
Super. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.